Trump is launching plans to sell his economic agenda ahead of the big midterms elections, focusing on what else? Affordability. The White House already touting that gas prices have now hit a 4-year low and spending power is up. White House advisor Kevin Hassett says relief is coming. It's coming in 2026, all thanks to President Trump's efforts.
We understand that, like, if a typical person buying a home saw their monthly mortgage payment go up by more than $1,000, grocery prices, a typical family's grocery bag went from about $400 to $525 a month. And so all that happened under Joe Biden. And now we're getting inflation under control. We're getting wage growth to grow again. People's spending power is up about $1,200 so far this year after dropping $3,000 under Joe Biden. It's going to take a little bit more time to get the hole that Biden dug to be completely filled, but we're going to do it. We're highly confident we're going to do it.
All right, snowy day at the White House yet again today. Alexandria Hoff is there live to bring us more. Alex, good morning to you. Hello.
Good morning to Bill. Yeah, so administration officials, as you heard right there, they've been doing their best to try and convey that the economic seeds that President Trump has been planting take time to bear fruit. But economic policy, it is naturally complicated. The president is a natural communicator, so he is seen as the best equipped to take his messaging face to face to the American people because they're feeling squeezed, especially around the holidays. So the president's going to do so with increased domestic travel starting on Tuesday with that trip to northeastern Pennsylvania. A senior official says that this week's trip is meant to emphasize that the administration is not letting up on the economy. Now, for now, Democrats see the opportunity in talking affordability. They call it a crisis. That messaging helped secure recent wins in New Jersey and Virginia. So heading into 2026, top party leaders want to push that President Trump is out of touch.
He is in such an effing bubble that he doesn't even know what average people go through. He's a billionaire. He doesn't worry about paying for groceries. I don't know if he's ever been in a grocery store.
Now, President Trump has called the sudden interest in affordability a con job, and this week highlighted investments made in the auto industry and elsewhere.
A miracle is happening in our country. It's a miracle. This is just the auto industry, but we have other industries where it's the same thing. They're building all over our country, and this is a revolution is happening. It's a business revolution. It's a jobs revolution.
And good news for the president. Investors, they're feeling hopeful that a rate cut is in store when the Federal Reserve meets next week. Send it back to you.
All right. Good shot. Alex, thank you. From the White House, North Lawn. Looking good. Thank you. Aisha?
Okay, for more on then, let's bring in Lara Trump, host of My View. Lara, good morning to you. I thought the president did such a nice job on the campaign trail last year, tying inflation to the previous administration, and voters bought it because it was true. But then the president got busy. There were wars to end. There were other things going on his plate, and the Democrats have tried to steal this issue. This is the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, slamming the president over affordability.
We haven't heard anything from Donald Trump. Apparently, he doesn't believe that there's an affordability crisis in the country. Like, it's unconstructive for him to conclude that it's a scam and a Democratic hoax. The American people know it's not a scam, it's not a hoax, it's very real.
How does he prevent them from stealing this? How does he own this ahead of the midterms?
Well, Donald Trump is his own best communicator. He's his own best mouthpiece from the White House perspective. And you're right, he was masterful on the campaign trail because he does communicate directly with the people of this country. But unlike the previous president, who either ignored problems, Aisha, or made them worse, as in inflation, as we're talking about right now, and the affordability crisis that hit Americans hard, this president faces it dead on and actually tackles it. And that's what you've seen him do since he got into office. And yes, there's been a lot to do. He's tried to bring peace around the world. He's tried to secure our border and get, illegal criminals out of our country. And obviously, one of the big pieces of that is making America's economy great again and bringing affordability back. But it doesn't happen overnight. So he has planted those seeds, and he has to talk to the American people about where they are going to feel it and when they are going to feel it. But look, all of the indicators are heading in the right direction. You see that month after month, the job growth in this country tends to outpace what the experts have even predicted. Core inflation is down to the lowest point since it was under President Trump first term in office, it's around 2.1%, and we've seen the economy grow at about 3%. So he needs to go out, he needs to talk to the people of this country and not allow the Democrats to run with this. It actually takes action, but it also takes communication, and that's what this president is excellent at. And I think we're going to hear a lot more from him on that front.
Lara, it's going to be an interesting trip in Northeastern Pennsylvania. We'll see what his message is there, and we'll see where he chooses to go after that. In the meantime, you might have heard my conversation with Tom Bevan last hour, talking about midterms already. This from Thursday in Politico from Democrats. They eye a red state push even as intra-party fighting persists. As you look at that headline, look at the retirements in the House and the Senate. There are a lot of folks going to be leaving Washington. There's going to leave maybe some doors open for others to take power. As you see it now, based on how the Supreme Court voted yesterday and what the White House is trying to do with their message, how tough will it be to hang on to power in the House?
Well, we have to take it seriously as Republicans. There's no doubt about it. It's not a cakewalk. We know the tradition and the history when it comes to midterms, and it often goes the opposite way that the White House went the 2 previous years before. With that said, you know, when you look at the 2024 election, you saw a shift to the right in nearly every part of this country. Districts that are blue even shifted red themselves, and we can hang on to it. You know, the problem the Democrats are going to have is that the radicals have taken over their party, and so you're seeing a donation issue when it comes to the Democrats. You know, the DNC at the end of October only had around $3 million in the bank. They've had to take out a loan for $15 million. Even their big donors see things like socialism, and they know they don't work, and they don't want to fund that. So they're going to have to work hard to get their funding up and to get people to donate to their cause. But as Republicans, look, we have to take every chance we get to talk to the people. As we just said with this president in the White House, he's great at that. You know, Republicans across the country have to be great at that too, and we have to continue working hard to push forward and ensure that we're leaving no stone unturned. You know, in 2024, we made sure that we reached out to those low propensity voters, people that don't come out every single election. They're even less likely to come out in these midterm elections, but that's going to be important as we head into next November. You got to make the big push, and Democrats may talk a big game. They are fractured at their core. They have no leader of their party. They are totally rudderless, and we have to capitalize on that as Republicans as well.
Lara, very quickly here before I let you go, I mean, is there any frustration, at least personally, on your part, about what's happening on Capitol Hill and with Republicans? I mean, it seems like the president kind of does everything. And there's going to be a time where he's not on the ballot, you know, he's not in the White House, and this party has to figure out what they're doing with messaging.
Yeah, listen, there's no doubt that when Donald Trump came down the golden escalator in 2015, he changed everything. And he's been there for 10 years, Aisha. To your point, he's been leading this party. He's been the person who's talked about the messaging the most and been the one directing things. So we do have to consider what is to come. I think the great news for Republicans is we have a great deep bench. Look at all the people within this cabinet. Look at our vice president. Look at all the people who can step up to the plate, who have learned directly from this president. You know, on Capitol Hill, that may be a different story, but as it goes from the leadership perspective, I do think we have great people lined up behind President Trump. But there's no doubt, you're right, there will never be another one like this president.
Lara, thanks for coming on. We'll check you out this weekend on My View. Tristan Thompson, Kash Patel, maybe gives you some more information about that pipe bomb arrest that we covered yesterday and today. So, Lara, thank you much. We'll see you this weekend.
Lara,
thanks for coming on here.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.